Hi, I'm Kate Hahn with TV Insider, and today we're speaking with the cast of Hulu's eerie new drama, Nine Perfect Strangers.
Welcome to Tranquillium House. The people who come here, they come to heal.
I don't want to suffer. You're already suffering.
Melissa McCarthy and Regina Hall, thank you so much for joining us today. Melissa, tell us about the character you play. What brings her to Tranquillium House?
I play Frances Welty, who is a very successful romance novelist up until recently. I think she's always had, at least the appearance of quite a bit of confidence. She's been her own woman, and it seems that within the last year or two, she just keeps taking hits with relationships, hits now with her work. So it's like on every level, she's kind of been chipped away at. And in my head, I always thought she probably originally booked this as like a vacation and to pamper, and which is kind of how she fronts. But by the time she gets there, I think she's really damaged. And I think like so many people, it's like sometimes you just need help, and you need help from other people. And that's certainly what happens in a very strange way. But strange practices, but I think good outcomes for this particular wellness center.
Well, Regina Hall, tell us about Carmel and what brings her there, and does she have a good outcome?
Well, Carmel she comes for, I think Carmel needs to rebuild her self-esteem. She has not been feeling amazing. Her husband has left her for a younger woman and remarried that woman, and her children like that woman. So there's a lot of things about herself that she doesn't like anymore, and she doesn't have her career anymore. So her family was her life. So I think for Carmel, she's got to have a renewed sense of purpose, And so she goes there to meet people, and Carmel, I think that's what's so great about the story is that it has so many twists and turns, and when you think there's a great outcome, there's a shift there, and you see all the characters intertwine, and I think what's so incredibly real is that it's not about it being a fairy tale. It's about the acceptance of life and embracing who you are and where you are. And so in that respect, I think everyone has a beautiful outcome, because that is actually the journey of life. There's no real destination except self-love.
Hi, Bobby Cannavale. Tell us about the character you play, Tony.
Sure. So I play a guy named Tony Hogburn, and he is one of the 9 people who have voluntarily signed up and been chosen by Nicole Kidman's character to attend this 10-day wellness retreat at this place called the Tranquillum. And he is he's pretty much damaged goods when he gets there. He's a former professional football player, addicted to opiates. He's got a terrible relationship with his daughters. It's non-existent. He's divorced, and he's pretty much at the end of his rope when he comes to this place with very few options. And his, for him, it's about whether he's gonna make it or not. If he's gonna make it through this program, if he's gonna make it through life, because he comes pretty suicidal when he comes in there, and so his journey is an interesting one, and he submits to the methods that the very unorthodox methods that Nicole Kidman, his character, has planned for him.
You play the most beautiful, perfect couple on the outside, Jessica and Ben, but they're there for a reason. They're at Tranquillum for a reason. So I'd love to hear from you first, Samara, about why is Jessica troubled?
She's disconnected from her husband and wants to fix their relationship. But when she gets there, I think she realizes it's a lot more about her own personal issues that are sort of clouding the relationship and maybe being quite taxing on the both of them.
Well, so Melvin, tell me about Ben's perspective on what's wrong with their relationship and what does he realize about himself?
If you take everything that Sam just said about Jessica, Ben is kind of oblivious to it. He doesn't know like the the internal struggle that she's dealing with. He only sees the surface level. So he just sees that his wife is changing physically. And it's not for him, he feels like he didn't have a problem with how she looked. So for her to go and change it, and then also to have like the social media thing, you feel like that's what she's doing it for. So he feels disconnected that way. And then within himself, he doesn't realize he has an issue. I feel like ultimately he's not happy. He's insecure. He's insecure partly because his wife is doing things to impress other people, in his opinion. But he's also insecure because it appears that he's something that he's not.
You play a mother-daughter who come to Tranquillum. Asher, how protective does your character feel as a mother in this situation?
I think she feels pretty protective, Heather. I mean, Heather's in a very dangerous emotional space when we meet her. She's being triggered. Her grief is being triggered in a way that she's just unable to push down, I think. And her desire to be a good mother to Zoe again after such a traumatic loss, she's finding it difficult to realize that and be active about that, I think.
And Grace, how much danger do you see the family being in at this location? It starts off pretty mild, but it starts to feel pretty ominous. Does Zoe kind of see that coming?
I think she starts to suspect something. Definitely not what was about to happen. I don't think anyone can predict that. But when Heather starts to loosen up and she starts acting differently, and I think that's both scary to me, but a little bit a little hopeful in a weird way, because she hasn't seen her mother open up like this in years. So I think there's definitely some hesitation, but also there's some hope driving me a little bit.
Now they come with Heather's husband, Zoe's dad, Napoleon, played by Michael Shannon. Asher, can you talk a little bit about where their relationship is, that husband and wife, when they first come?
Yeah, I think they're at a point where the disconnect between them is almost unbearable. But the loss of their child, I mean, how do you recover from that? What happens to you as a relationship, as a partnership? What happens to you? And that was the question that ran through all the way for us as we were shooting it. What happens? How do you reconnect?
Nicole Kidman plays Masha, who is Yao's boss, and they have a very special relationship. Can you talk about their relationship a little bit?
Absolutely. I think their relationship is rooted in their devotion to serve and help other people. I think they've gone through past traumatic lives themselves and shared a past traumatic moment. And through that moment, they were able to have this strong bond, hence why Yao is Masha's right-hand man. And at the end of the day, they just want to serve and to be able to give more purpose and self-improvement to those who are seeking for it, i.e. the Nine Perfect Strangers.
Nine Perfect Strangers premieres Wednesday, August 18th on Hulu. You can find more great coverage of today's best television on TV Insider. And for more insider interviews like this, hit subscribe.